Hey, it's Clay from the SongTown Studios with another episode of the Music Lab. You know, I get a lot of emails asking me about my home studio setup, asking if I can kind of go over the pieces of gear that I use a lot in my studio. And you know, over the years, I've kind of made it my mission to put together a studio that I could use on records and feel comfortable that the sound is going to be professional, but also that I found that threshold of spending the least amount of money possible to get that professional sound. And over the years, I've really kind of perfected this and been very successful at recording home demos and getting them made into records and cut by artists. So I was just going to take you on a tour, kind of documentary style. I'm going to break out my iPhone 6 and head over to my studio and kind of give you a brief overlay of the gear I use. And then we'll come back here and talk a little bit more about it. Cheers. Okay, we're going to take a look at my home studio setup. I use this for writing and recording home demos. First thing you'll notice is a MacBook Air computer. This is a 13-inch. I have used 11-inch MacBook Airs in the past. They both have great processing power to do all you need for recording and for even recording records as well as home demos. But I would suggest that whatever computer you get, you always max out your memory, because with recording, you'll use up a lot of memory. But the MacBook Airs are solid. You can get them at really good prices if you do a refurbished MacBook Air online somewhere. And you'll notice that I'm using Logic software for recording. Now, the MacBooks come with GarageBand, and GarageBand is great. I've recorded some great demos in GarageBand, even had some hits off of demos that I've done in GarageBand. But I love Logic. It comes with great piano sounds, great keyboard sounds, drum sounds. It's just a great all-around program. Now down here, you'll notice that I'm using Native Instruments Machine Micro, and I use this for programming beats on my demos. And you can see that it's fairly small. It's about the size of a tiny computer, and it integrates well with the MacBook Air and with Logic. I've got a little something programmed here. Let's see. Now that's just a piano sound straight off of Logic. It has great piano sounds, and I can use that for just kind of basic sketches as I'm writing. I can use those piano sounds great and then later mix them in on the demo as well. Moving on, I'm using some Yamaha Hs 5 speakers. They're powered speakers. You just plug them in. You don't need a power amp. They're ready to go. And they just really sound accurate. They don't hype the sound a lot. So what you hear translates well when you mix something on these speakers and you take them and play them somewhere else. They pretty much sound like what they sounded like as you were mixing on them. Down here, you'll see I have a controller keyboard. This is a Keylab 49. It's made by Arturia. They make great feeling keyboards. Now, there's no sound inside of this keyboard. It literally is connected to Logic Pro in my computer, and it's triggering the sounds that I have in my computer that come with Logic Pro. So it's a great controller device. It has a few fancy knobs and pads on it that you don't have to have. I don't use them that often, but this is a great keyboard brand if you're looking for a keyboard. Also, I'm using a Shure SM7B microphone. Just go in there so you can see it. This is a great multi-purpose mic. It's only a few $100s, and you can use it. Michael Jackson even recorded all of his vocals on a SM7, so it's a great little microphone. And then at the center of my studio, this is kind of the brains behind interfacing everything in the studio, from the computer, the speakers, plugging your mic into it. It's kind of the hub, the central hub. It's called the Apollo Twin. And what this does is it interfaces your analog sound. So you plug your guitar into it, your mic into it, and it interfaces and converts that analog sound into a digital format, which runs on your computer. So it's an analog to digital converter. And it also has outputs in the back that plug into your speaker. It's got a headphone jack right here. It's got a jack to plug your guitar into. Microphone plugs into the back. So you pretty much plug everything into this guy. It also interfaces with your computer through a lightning cable. So it plugs right into your computer. And the great thing about the Universal Audio Apollo Twin is it's not only a great sounding converter that takes your vocals and puts them into Logic or GarageBand and makes it sound great, but it also comes with some great plugins for reverbs, for guitar amps. It just has a lot of effects that are world-class effects, and they're used on a lot of records. So it's a relatively inexpensive piece for everything it gives you. I would really encourage you to check that out. Okay, so you've kind of gotten a basic idea of my overall studio here. And this, I'm telling you, just this little bit of stuff will allow you to do pretty much anything right now that you like. As long as you got a guitar that you can plug into it, you're good to go. Hey, we're back at the SongTown studios. Hope you enjoyed that little tour of my home studio setup. And that kind of covered all the pieces of gear I find integral to having a professional sound at the lowest possible price. Now, I'm going to write out a complete list that you can download. If you just scroll down the video page underneath the video player, just hit download PDF, and I'm going to make a list of all the gear that's in my studio so you can have that. And then I'm also going to attach another download that is a blog that I did that kind of describes how I go about using that equipment. The blog is about a guitar vocal demo I did for a Darius Rucker hit, and you'll see how I kind of thought out my process for recording using that gear. Now, sometimes I do full demos on my home gear, sometimes I do guitar vocals, but that'll get you started. And we'll be back next week on the Music Lab. So right on, guys.